Good morning. Hello. My name is Lisa, and I'm a teacher from Green Forest, Kharkiv. So, greetings from Kharkiv. Well, today our topic is how to sell green forest. However, today I'm not going to talk about marketing or sales strategies. That is for specially trained people. On the contrary, I will look at what we as teachers can actually do at the first class in order to sell green forests. Well, let's look at what we are going to talk about today. First of all, we will look at some common reasons why students don't continue studying after the first class. Secondly, we will look at how to make the first class effective. Then we will talk about how not to discourage students from learning, how to highlight our perks. And finally, I'm going to share with you some of the activities for the first class. I would like to tell you, and it is quite obvious, that the majority of students, of the new students who join us, have a great deal of insecurities concerning their studies. And you just walk along the corridor and you just see those faces full of terror, you know. So let's look at those insecurities closer. Some of the students are afraid of too large groups. Yeah, you know that they say that 3 is a crowd. However, at Green Forest, 14 is not a big deal for us, right? This is the maximum number of students for the offline setting. However, online settings have 10 students, and the students might feel that the teacher won't be able to give them enough attention that they require. The next one is about the lack of their knowledge. Yeah, this concerns those faces full of terror, and those faces are accompanied by eyes devoid of any understanding. Well, mostly it's about beginners and elementaries. Yeah, they have no idea what's going on, and they will be afraid of falling behind just because the lack of background knowledge. On the contrary, there is another type of those who are of those students who feel that they have too much knowledge. Yeah, this concerns upper levels, of course, and we call them smart asses. Yeah, too self-assured, feeling that there's nothing to be gained from the course. And another like a type of insecurities, it's those students who are reluctant to use devices. Yes, we do sometimes use extra resources online. Yeah, we do use the online platform, and they need to use devices. And occasionally we join Kahoot or Quizlet, right? And some students might feel insecure about using those technology. Then students might see us so young and pretty and judge the book by its cover, and then make up their minds that they are consequently inexperienced. Some of the students feel that there's too much homework or too little homework. Yeah, those are two opposing teams again. And also they might feel lack of the result, or that the classes will be dull, kind of student or university-like education. And well, unless we dispel those fears at the first class, the students might not continue studying. And there is a phrase which is stuck in my mind, said by Ruslan at our recent meeting, that one lost student is worth 1 million hryvnias for Green Forest. Well, that's quite a lot. And here our task as teachers is to highlight all our benefits and incorporate them all into the first class, so the students don't go running away to our competitors. So today I'm going to be showing you how to overcome those issues. Oh, by the way, a colorful presentation will definitely appeal to visual perceptive students, and you just may download any free template from the web. Yeah, and believe me, it will lighten up your mood and your class in general. So About the fear, about lack of progress. Yeah? Here, this is a picture of the system of our levels, and this will give them an extra incentive to do the course. Yeah, they visualize their way, whether they are in the beginning or in the middle. Yeah, they actually see how much they need to work to master English. Then one more thing that we discussed about fears is technology. Here, I'm sure that all of you talk about our book at the first class. However, I would advise you to inform them about the opportunity to use both options, right? However, encourage them to use the online option. Warn that at the first class you are going to try out the online resource, and after the class they will make up their mind whether they would like to continue with that or just buy a paper-based book. And here it is quite essential to highlight two our main benefits of the book. Firstly, those are the videos and audio materials. Well, you could also compare our book to the old-fashioned style, where students had to buy the book, yeah, and some extra DVD or CD, which they had to find some device to input actually, yeah, and play. Those devices took time, and our book is quite fast. You just need to click one button and you already have any media file that you are required to open. And secondly, be sure to work with such tasks in our book, which instantly show the answers. Yeah, so they will quickly see the result. And of course, our application. Well, I've had a student once at the grammar class who just found out about the existence of the app at the final exam when he was supposed to open the app and find the test. Yeah, so you can imagine how much he has missed out during the semester, all those extra classes and extra materials. Yeah, so be sure to show them how to use the app. What I do, I just make screenshots and show them what kind of functions our app includes. However, you might use also Victoria Green, yeah, to make it more visual. And by showing the students how to work with the application and with the book, you will help them to stop worrying about this technology issue and just model yourself how fast and how user-friendly those services are. Okay, the next fear we discussed with you in the beginning was about homework too much or too little, or about our dull classes. Well, here it's pay extra attention. Highlight the opportunities that to do the class individually in case students skip it. Yeah, this will give them the confidence that they won't lose or they won't miss out on any important, even if they are super busy entrepreneurs, yeah, or moms with 4 kids. Yeah, they will always have the internet connection and the materials online. And also explain them what you expect from the students in terms of homework. You don't want any slackers in the group. And well, once I saw an advertisement on subway train, which said разговорный английский, авторская методика, без домашних заданий за 2 месяца. Yeah? Well, warn your students that magic doesn't exist and that Elon Musk hasn't come up with some chip that can be installed, implanted into your brain, and that will do the studying process for you. Well, it's essential to let them know that they will have to put in some effort. Yeah, that way you align your expectations and you prevent any misunderstandings later. So usually I just show them my worksheet, yeah, and I show them the scope of the tasks that I will ask them to do. If you give them extra Quizlet or video, also pay attention to this at the first class. Right, well, fear. Another fear is Again, dull classes and no progress. Well, here our main perk, in my opinion, yeah, one of the main perks of Green Forest comes in handy, and I'm talking about extra classes. And here, pinpoint the variety that we have. We do have speaking clubs traditionally. In your city, you might have different ones, but in Kharkiv, we also have movie club, we have pronunciation club, vocabulary club, and also special series, Rick and Morty clubs here, and also emphasize that native speakers conduct most of those extra classes. For some students, it's a critical point when choosing a school. Right, about non-professional teachers and lack of attention. Well, here, well, here again, it is again essential to meet up the expectations from both sides. I advise you to talk about the rules at the first class. Well, here, those are just examples of like basic rules. However, the last one is really crucial. You don't want any introverted students to miss out on speaking parts. Yeah, just encourage them to be open. Well, yes, of course, it's a two-way street. However, just just talking about it will not solve the problem. However, it will set up the right mood for the next semester, and students will know what they are expected to do. And yes, unfortunately, we do need to talk about Corona rules. It will show them that Green Forest cares about their health, and that we take the issue seriously. But making the rules fun will not hurt anyone, right? Another fear is about no result and that they already have too much knowledge. And here, it's quite important to get the students interested in the course in general. Well, yes, they've been evaluated by the administrators, yeah, and they know that they are going to be studying intermediate level, for instance, yeah. However, they need to imagine what exactly they are going to discuss, yeah. So here, what you could actually do is also quite straightforward and easy. Just write down the list of topics that your course will cover. That way they will see it visually. And also I ask just randomly what would be the most interesting topic for them to discuss at the first class, and they might choose something in the end, closer to the end, and this will subconsciously encourage them to do the course and to finally get to that point when they will learn their favorite topic. The same goes with grammar topics. Here you might show them some like specific terminology, for instance, not past perfect and past continuous, yeah, but narrative tenses. And they might want, oh, I don't know what narrative tense is. Yeah, I need to know this. I want to do the course. Right. And about our professionalism, I just show them these two photos, and I ask my students to find a Green Forest teacher here. And yes, we are somewhere in the middle, right? We do have great experience, we do have great knowledge. However, we do not use the old-fashioned style of education. So I just let them know about our methodology in a few words. And I also brag a little bit about Green Forest, about our teachers, that we travel the world and that we attend different conferences to develop and to improve our skills. And I also show them sleep and nest just to make it fun. We have gone through the students' insecurities and how you can easily tackle them, but by just talking about them and setting a great example. And I'm pretty confident that in case you pay attention to those points, Green Forest will not lose any potential students. Okay, one of the critical points for us is to how to make the first class effective, and one of the criteria of an effective class is what students can actually take home from the class. Yeah, and the second criteria is for us and for them also to make sure that everyone is in the right place in terms of the level. So, how to make sure that students mastered a piece of language? Well, one of the quickest way is to use the test in our book. Yeah, it doesn't require any preparation. It's not time consuming, and you just ask them to do it in the end of the class. Well, it's kind of standardized. So there is one more thing that you could do is a checklist. I will just show you an example of a checklist for a beginner class. Here you probably have learned how to introduce themselves in English, yeah? Or you might have learned how to make a short dialogue about themselves in English, or just count to 10. So just print it out, ask your students to evaluate themselves on a scale from 1 to 5, for instance, or just put a tick or nothing, yeah? And here, this will have a double effect because, firstly, students visualize their progress. Yeah, they feel confident that they have mastered it, and also you can easily see if some students are not responding well at this stage. You might want to offer them a lower level. Okay, and also about a successful class, there is one thing I wanted to pay your attention to, and I've got a rhetorical question. Have you ever faced with a problem when you plan the lesson perfectly, yeah, with all the ICQs and CCQs and bridges and whatever? However, at the actual class, you run out of time and you cram all those tasks and you leave out production, yeah, the last part. Well, I'm sure everybody has, and it's quite all right in the middle of the semester, for instance. However, if we are talking about the first class, what I've learned in the previous semesters is that you do not need to include everything from the book, yeah, into the first class. Well, you might leave out reading, you know, listening, or you might leave out functional language, the whole piece to the next class. The most important is to give our students the opportunity to speak. Yeah, our goal is to show that what our semester is going to be like, and to show them our communicative approach. So miss out on the part of the class that can be covered later, but leave enough time to production. And while they are speaking, there's also one quite straightforward trick that can help you to evaluate the students. Just make yourself a list of students, yeah, with their names and interests, yeah, when they are doing an icebreaker, and a comment concerning their level. And also, this may be used in the second class, for instance, using the information about their interests. With this, the students will feel the personalized approach, even if even in the setting of 14 people in the class, yeah, and their fear of lack of attention from the teacher will be instantly dispelled. You know, the students have the variety of schools, yeah, from our competitors that they may choose, but here at Green Forest we do have this personalized approach, and it's quite essential to show it at the first class. And finally, I promised to share some of the activities which will be great for the first class. Well, I'm sure that you know this logo, and all of your students also use this social media. And this is always a good idea to use the hype, yeah, to use the current fandom. So here we can also show our students that we are on the same wavelengths with them. So the idea of this icebreaker is the following. I just print screen some of my posts here on the Instagram, and I elicit from my students what information they can tell about me based on those photos. Yeah, so they just talk about my job, about my family, like my hobbies, for a little bit, my favorite drink, that I'm studying Spanish, yeah, my trips, and I also brag a little bit that I've been to the USA. This is where I got my English from. And after that, I ask them to do the same. I ask them to open their Instagram or Facebook or any other social media and to share with their partners some photos, yeah, and discuss some pictures that characterize them as personalities. Well, here this icebreaker will work mostly with the upper levels, right? Because they can say something. And another icebreaker that I use for my lower levels is it goes like this. First of all, I show them these photos and I elicit from them what kind of event this is. Yeah, I introduce them to AA, Alcoholic Anonymous, and I tell them that we are going to become Alcoholics Anonymous for a little while. And I start with modeling myself. I tell them, hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm a travelholic and a Proseccoholic. And I ask my students to greet me, say hi, Lisa, all together. Sometimes it takes a few attempts to do it all together, yeah, because they don't know what they are supposed to do. And I just repeat, and they say hi, Lisa. After that, I ask them to connect their hobby or something that they enjoy very much to this suffix holic and introduce themselves. Believe me, even starters and even elementary level students at the first class, they know how to say football holic, yeah, probably computer holic or coffee holic, film holic, yeah. It will be quite easy for them, and this will give them the confidence that they already know, they already can say a simple sentence in English, yeah. To ensure that they can do it, I just write this on the board or leave it on my screen, yeah, so that they have a model to fit their hobbies into. And one more comment about starter levels. Here, there is a thin line between like sticking to our rule of no first language in the class and scaring the students away. Well, of course, we vary English and first language, but we do our best to let them speak English here as much as possible. So here, we do require them to speak. However, it's not a big problem if you explain something in Russian or Ukrainian. This semester, we are going to have a couple of trainings and lecture on how to work with the starters. So be sure to stay tuned. And one of the integral parts of first classes of most levels, yeah, is the classroom language. This is some pictures of what our book offers us. However, this is quite standardized, yeah, and there is a cool and visual way of how to get students concentrated on it more. And here, our goose, yeah, our famous companion comes in handy. Actually, the author of this idea is my colleague from Kharkiv office, Nastya Zibarova. I just refined it a little bit and adapted for online courses. Well, first of all, what I do is I show them our goose, yeah, and I elicit what language he speaks. And well, students tell me that it's Surzhyk, obviously, and I also tell them that actually Surzhyk is not acceptable at our classes. Yeah, I tell them that only goose can speak this language, but we are going to learn how to avoid it. For lower levels, I give them this worksheet and I ask them, I give them the English phrases and I ask them to complete the gaps or just match the English translation with the Ukrainian or with the Surzhyk one. With the upper levels, of course, I do not ask them to do that. However, I pay them their attention to the first option with the Surzhyk and the English one, and I ask them to avoid speaking the first language in the class. Right, well, that is all. All of those activities and tricks will just assist you in the first class. However, the main perk of Green Forest is actually you, ladies and a few gentlemen, and you are what makes Green Forest great. And I'm personally convinced that if you look confident and smart and experienced, students will have a strong desire to come back and visit the second lesson. Well, I wish you wonderful first classes and thank you for attention.